You don't have to be perfect when it comes to nutrition. You just have to be consistent. Hi guys, Mark McKillier with Live Anabolic, and guess what? I'm going to shoot a quick video and explain the most important thing you need to know when it comes to losing weight and building muscle, and that is right here, the kitchen. All right, it's not an accident that we're filming, all right, with me standing in my kitchen next to my refrigerator. Most people understand that nutrition is really important to losing fat, okay? What they don't understand is that it's also important to building muscle. If you're not getting the right nutrition, especially the right amount of protein on a daily basis, you're gonna really hamper your ability to build muscle. You might still be able to lose fat because all of a sudden you're exercising now and you're eating better and you're moving a lot, all right? So you're burning calories and you're burning more calories than you're taking in. But if you're not getting the right kind of calories on a daily basis, I mean, you might be busting your butt in the gym and really pushing it hard and only getting 50% of the benefit simply because you don't know the basics. Okay, so what do I mean when I say you need to know the basics? The first thing you need to do is write down every single thing you eat in one typical day, all right? It's a pain in the butt, I know it, but it really only takes about 15 minutes total, because you write it all down at the end of the day, or you take notes during the day, and then that night or the next day or whatever, you need to get online. There's all kinds of free apps where you can look up the different macros and calories of the food you ate the previous day. You just kind of add it all up, and now you know how many calories you took in, and you also need to know how many grams of protein you ingested, all right? That's really important. You need to have an idea of where you're starting, okay? And then of course, when it comes to losing weight, you just need to be expending more energy than you're bringing in via food. There's also another app for that. It's free, all right? You just kind of fill in the blank. It asks you your age and your weight and how active you are, and it will give you an estimate of how many calories you burn in a typical day. Compare that to the notes you took on the food you eat in a typical day. Boom, then you can tell whether you're eating more, all right, and burning fewer calories, or vice versa. And you want to shoot for about a 500 calorie per day deficit, all right? That's pretty easy to achieve. You shouldn't feel extremely hungry if you're eating 500 calories fewer than you're burning off in an average day, all right? And then at the end of the week, you multiply that by 7 days, that's 3,500 total calories deficit that you had for that week. And why is that important? Because 1 pound of fat equals 3,500 calories. And if you can lose 1 pound of fat a week, it doesn't sound like much, but guess what, guys? It adds up super fast. And it's also a great way to lose weight, i.e. slowly, because it's much easier to maintain. You don't typically gain it back if you lose weight real slow and steady. And then the other benefit is, if you do it slow and steady, you don't damage your metabolism. Occasionally I'll see guys that just get really gung-ho and radical, and they just slash the amount of food they eat, and they're eating very few calories, and they start losing weight, and they're really excited about it. And then after a month or two, they quit losing weight. They just plateau, but they're still eating like a little bird. So what happens is their body has said, oh my gosh, I'm in starvation mode. I need to slow my metabolism down so I don't starve to death. All right, your body is pretty smart. It adjusts, okay? So if you overdo the reduction in calories, then your body just tends to slow down, your metabolism that is, and you start burning fewer calories than you normally would. That doesn't happen if you just cut back by 500 calories a day, what you need to maintain, your normal body weight. That's why I say it's slow and steady wins the race, basically. All right, so I mentioned earlier, you just need to know what foods are good and what foods are bad, what you should eat, what you should avoid. It sounds pretty complicated, but it's not. All right, you can learn this stuff really, really quick. I've shot a ton of great videos here on our YouTube channel. Matter of fact, right here on my counter, I've actually dumped out my entire grocery list for a typical week, all right? Just look up some of those videos. Matter of fact, we'll show it on screen right now, but I mean, there's a ton of food here. And it's super simple. I'm a bachelor, which means I hate cooking. I don't like to cook for one person. I'm lazy, all right? I do meal prep a little bit. I do this really cool big skillet full of rice and vegetables and typically salmon, but some type of protein. And I cook it all together, and it takes me about 30 minutes total, and it makes 7 or 8 meals that I just put in a big Tupperware tub and stick it in the refrigerator. But all the food that you see on my counter in those videos is available at every single grocery store, anywhere, okay? It's real straightforward. None of it's exotic foods, okay? And there's a ton of great protein in there to choose from. All right, so it's a quick video. It's not real specific because I've shot dozens of other videos where I get into very specific details about foods, what to eat, how many grams of protein are in typical serving sizes. You know, you use that search feature right here on our channel. You know, it's that little magnifying glass near the top of the page. Just type in Mark Nutrition or just nutrition or type in protein, and you'll probably get 20 or 30 different videos between Gary and myself. I know I have at least 15 on the topic. And then you can kind of, you know, scour around those other videos and just fast forward through them until you find a spot where it looks interesting, and then boom, hit pause and just write down all the food, you know, right there, all right, that I'm talking about. It's just, I give you exactly what to buy. It's as simple as that. And then finally, guys, you don't have to be perfect when it comes to nutrition. You just have to be consistent. I mean, you know, I'm not perfect. I go out and do cheat meals all the time. Burger and fries and a couple of beers with the guys, you know, no problem, all right? That is not what hurts you. The main thing that screws things up for you is the sugar, the processed sugar. You know, going to parties and getting that birthday cake and the ice cream, that's what really screws you up. Go to a party and have the burger and fries or whatever, okay? Avoid the sugar. That is 10 times worse for you. Your body can use cheeseburgers and fries. I mean, there's actually a lot of good macronutrients in that food. There's a lot of extra fat too, and of course the bun is processed carbs, but that's mostly pretty healthy, okay? But consistency is the key when it comes to nutrition. It's as simple as that. And that's why I say at the end of every video, you got to stick with it and never give up on yourself.